this crazy Bengals season where everything has happened to them.
You know, anytime you play a divisional opponent, it's a big game.
Bengals are playing for everything.
And this is a big game for our season as well.
I don't know many teams that are going to want a first-round matchup with this offense.
There's not a single NFL team in the playoffs that wants to see the Bengals in the playoffs.
In terms of a team that can scare the living hell out of you because of what they can do. Here we go, bring it up!
Lights are on, opportunities are there. Seize it. We take it tonight.
Hey, play for one another. It's not about him. It's about us.
Months ago, we let him off the hook.
Now he get it. Hey, these are games that you live for, dog.
Their playoff lives are on the line as Cincinnati looks to hand Pittsburgh a fourth straight loss to close out the season, keeping their postseason hopes alive in the process. Welcome in to Bengals Weekly. I'm Marisa Contipelli. It's primetime in Pittsburgh as everything is on the line for the Bengals in Week 18. Win, and there's hope. Lose, and the season comes to an end. So as we get you set for kickoff Saturday night against the Steelers, we take you down to field level and inside the helmet of Chase Brown as we had the halfback mic'd up in the thrilling win against Denver. Bengals legend Boomer Esiason joins the show to preview the team's biggest game of the season. And on Countdown, I'll tell you what Trey Hendrickson has accomplished this season that hasn't been done in over 40 years. But first, the Bengals are still alive in the playoff hunt entering the final week of the regular season. Now, ESPN is currently giving the Bengals a 10.4% chance of making the postseason. But there are a few dominoes that need to fall for this number to turn into a 100. The first, the Bengals have to take care of business Saturday night against the Steelers and get the win in Pittsburgh. A win keeps them in contention. A loss will eliminate Cincinnati from the playoffs. So we're going to continue on, assuming the Bengals handle their business and get the W Saturday night. The next thing we have to keep an eye on is Sunday, 4:25. This is going to be the first game we are watching, the New York Jets against the Miami Dolphins. Aaron Rodgers has to come out and hand Miami a loss. Miami, currently ahead of the Bengals in the playoff standings, need to lose. The other game we're going to be keeping an eye on Sunday, also at 4:25, Kansas City against Denver. Carson Wentz going to be getting the start for the Chiefs. He has to come out and hand the Denver Broncos a loss. All three of these things happen. Bengals are going to be the number 7 seed in the AFC, and there will be a postseason for Cincinnati. Now, a key reason as to why the Bengals have had success on offense, not only this year, but the last few years, has been the big three: Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Tee Higgins. Their chemistry comes natural and is unmatched, and it's something that stems far beyond the field.
Even before we drafted him, I told him that we're not going to draft you a number 5 to just be average. Like, we're drafting you to be a franchise-changing receiver.
Jamar leading the NFL in catches, receiving yards, and touchdown catches.
All 5 years they've been here together, and certainly two guys that from day one we counted on.
Joe Burrow extends his NFL record to 8 games with 250 yards, more than 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns on the day for Tee Higgins.
Just intentional focus and attention to detail, and not just getting himself better, but getting the whole group better. That's something that he's always doing, and it's shown over the years, just the way that all three of those guys have kind of grown together.
Momentum 10 left. Burrow, sideline, Chase, spin. There he goes. Jamar Chase, touchdown Bengals.
Hey, you that boy, you hear me? You that boy. I swear to God, don't let nobody tell you different.
They're really, truly like family, like brothers, and it's special to see, and it's a great bond. Envious, jealous, there's none of that. They really care about each other. One guy succeeds, the other guy succeeds.
It permeates throughout the entire team, kind of motivates guys to follow your lead and to do things the right way.
I'm telling you, Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins block well for each other.
Me and Joe have been together since 2020, and that's going on 5 years now. So he built trust in me, and I built trust in him. It takes time, and it didn't come like that, so.
Both dealt with injuries, both called upon right away, have found ways to improve and get better as well.
every year you get another year of friendship under your belt, another year of working together, and that just makes the efficiency of communication a tick faster.
You see that big blue thing back there? Don't do me that. Don't do me that. That big blue? Don't do me that. Don't do me that. That's an insult.
Since we've been together, I'm starting to lose count now. Like six years now. We only gonna get better from here, man. There's only more room for us to grow, more room for me to grow as a receiver.
He's once in a lifetime type player. You know, our careers will forever be tied together, college into the pro. It's just fun to be a part of.
It's just a lot of fun. Even if we, have a bad game, I know we're gonna come in the next day ready to work and, confident that we're gonna get the win the next game. So it's just a lot of fun working with those two.
It's not surprising to me as a coach or any of the players around them that the success they have. They're always striving for greatness. They want to be the best teammates, the best tandem, trio, and so they're always striving for greatness.
Now, as we heard from Troy Walters, the Bengals didn't draft Jamar to be average. Jamar Chase has the opportunity to join elite company this weekend. Chase is on pace to be the 6th player in the Super Bowl era to win the receiving Triple Crown. Entering Week 18, Uno has 8 more receptions than Amon-Ra St. Brown, over a 130-yard lead on Justin Jefferson, and is 4 touchdowns ahead of St. Brown and Terry McLaurin. If Chase finishes first in all 3 categories after this weekend, he would be the youngest player to win the Triple Crown since 1936. Now up next, we check in with Chase Brown, who had the hot mic against Denver. Bengals Weekly continues next. Bengals Weekly is brought to you by Kettering Health, the official healthcare provider of the Cincinnati Bengals, and Paycor, proud to be the official HR software provider of the Cincinnati Bengals. Welcome back to Bengals Weekly. In his second full season, Chase Brown has put up head-turning numbers as he nears 1,000-yard rushing on the season. So for this primetime showdown in the jungle, we thought we'd throw a mic on Chase to bring you an inside perspective. We now head down to field level to listen in.
How is it December right now? That's what I don't understand. How is it December?
The temperature hovering around 60 degrees.
Good job on the weather, whoever's got that.
Right? Yeah, this is crazy.
It feels so weird being warm again.
Thank you, bro.
Is that a Brown jersey?
Yeah, okay. Special order, man.
Let's see.
Special order for Christmas.
Oh, wow. There you go, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, one time.
Whatever it takes, man. They got to match on anything, man. They got to see us. This we talk about, the standards we built, let's put this on this play today, man. Great opportunity to go ahead and have fun, play together, man. Hey, back up 3, 1, 2, 3, back. 30, go.
Come on, man. Let's go. Game time. Let's go. Game time.
The Bengals must defeat the Denver Broncos at home today.
Bro, this place is live right now, bro. Holy. This is live right now. Oh, this is live.
It's a handoff. Chase Brown bounces it wide to the left, uses a stiff arm to get away from a defender. And the Rams for a first down.
It's a 3rd and 3. Burrow. Caught for the first down. Brown. Chase Brown has done it all.
Let's go, baby. I saw you moving. Bro, I've been blocking all day, bro. They're blitzing so much.
Burrow. Touchdown, Higgins. Pressured again. Chased on the play by Hill. Oh, and he's whipped. And deep. And for Yosevich.
Denver is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed catch.
Hey, you got that? Hell of a catch, bro.
That's a catch.
That's a good catch by Yoshi.
Let's go, baby.
4th down and 2.
Got you in for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Good.
Detail of the call.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Huge play. 4th and 2. Burrow, Brown, they got it. And more. On 4th and 2. They get 11.
Ah! Yeah! My bad. No, you good. My bad.
1:10 left in overtime. Burrow looking to throw. His pass, it is caught! Touchdown! Bengals!
The Bengals face a playoff-like scenario in Pittsburgh Saturday night. Up next, we welcome in Boomer Esiason to break it all down. Stay with us here on Bengals Weekly.
Bengals Weekly is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. And Alta Fiber, the official Wi-Fi and internet provider of the Cincinnati Bengals.
One of the most prolific quarterbacks to wear the orange and black was Boomer Esiason. Now the Bengals have a quarterback who has brought his own swagger and charisma to the stripes. Esiason now joins Dan Horn to preview the Bengals' tilt against the Steelers. We've talked a little bit about Joe Burrow.
With all of this Joe Burrow MVP talk, it is the perfect time to catch up with the Bengals' last most valuable player, Boomer Esiason. Boomer, your MVP season was your 5th year in the NFL. This is Joe Burrow's 5th year in the NFL. What do you find remarkable about what he's been doing this year?
Seems like he's been around a hell of a lot longer than 5 years, I can tell you that. He's already jam-packed an entire career into those 5 years. You can't deny the historical things that he is doing and he's accomplishing. I mean, he's on the cusp of doing something only Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have done, and that's 4,500 yards, 40 touchdowns, and less than 10 interceptions in a season. So the thing that's remarkable to me is this run that Joe is on. It's unprecedented. When you think about it, when you're talking about the amount of yards, the amount of touchdowns, now all of a sudden the winning is starting to happen. I just think that there are things that he does on the field that nobody else in the NFL is capable of doing. He does more than numbers. And, his ability to spread it around. I know that Jamar is his favorite, but, he does not mind getting everybody else involved.
Let's specifically talk about Jamar. He hasn't even turned 25 yet. He's having a historically great season. Of the guys that you threw to and you've watched since, what's unique about Jamar?
His length, first and foremost, combined with his speed. So he also has an awareness on the football field. But Jamar is a freak athlete, and he's got enormous hands. So he very rarely ever drops the ball. That's why when he drops the ball, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he just dropped the ball.
Well, let's talk about the first thing they need to do, and that is beat Pittsburgh on Saturday night. The Steelers won the first meeting 44-38. The Bengals haven't lost a game since. What do they have to do to beat them in Pittsburgh on Saturday?
The last couple times he's thrown for over 300 yards against them. I would suspect it's going to be that type of game again. But unfortunately for the Steelers, they've lost 3 in a row now. I mean, they are going off a cliff. I expect another probably 27-24, 30-27 type of game. I would think the team that has the ball last is going to have a chance to kick a game-winning field goal. So, managing the clock will be important once again, as it always is in every game when it's close or late in the game.
Boomer, we always appreciate your time. Happy New Year. Enjoy the grandkids. And we'll keep our fingers crossed that we're all watching Bengals playoff football in another week.
Wouldn't it be great if the Bengals had a second win and made it to the playoffs this year? That would be something that I could buy into. That would be great. Thanks, Dan.
It's now time for this week's Kettering Health Fantasy Report. The first hat trick of his career vaulted Tee Higgins to the top of the fantasy boards as the highest scoring player for the week with over 40 points. Higgins hauled in 11 catches for 131 yards to go along with his 3 touchdowns. Now, as for the second highest scorer among all players for Week 17, well, that was Joe Burrow. Burrow posted over 36 points, his highest fantasy number of the season, as Joey B went 39 for 49, throwing for 412 yards and 4 total touchdowns, including the game winner in overtime to Tee Higgins. And for Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson has averaged 16 points per game this season and is coming off an outing where he posted just over 17 after going 23 for 37 for 205 yards and a rushing touchdown. Wilson has thrown an interception, though, in back-to-back games.
With 1 game to go, there are a handful of milestones and records waiting to be broken. I'll tell you more next on Contipelli's Countdown. Welcome back to Bengals Weekly. Do you wake up in the middle of the night because you had a nightmare that Trey Hendrickson was running full speed ahead, ready to unleash? Well, thankfully, I don't either. But I like to think that quarterbacks across the league have this everlasting vision that Trey is just ready to wreak havoc on them. Because in my eyes, well, Trey Hendrickson is a quarterback's worst nightmare. And Trey has the opportunity this weekend to finish the season atop the sack leaderboard. Hendrickson became the first Bengal since 1980 to record double-digit sacks in back-to-back seasons. He enters the final week of the regular season tied for the league lead with 14, and his 31.5 sacks over the last 2 seasons is most among all players. Trey has better than a 20 pass rush win rate on the year. That's second highest in the league, as his 85 generated pressures this season is also good for second most in the NFL. And looking at the matchup for this weekend, well, Hendrickson has 4 sacks in 3 career games in Pittsburgh. Now you can pick your poison with Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins. The pair are 2 of only 3 players in the league averaging more than 75 receiving yards a game and have at least 10 touchdowns. They're also the only teammate duo with 10 or more receiving touchdowns this season. The Bengals have averaged 4 more points per game with Higgins in the lineup, as Joe Burrow has a higher completion percentage, passing yards per game average, and passer rating when the receiver plays. And as the Bengals hit the road this weekend, Chase aims for his 6th straight with at least 90 receiving yards. He has also scored 8 touchdowns in his last 5 on the road. Joe Burrow, meanwhile, has been on a tear. During the Bengals' win streak, Burrow has thrown over 1,300 yards, has 12 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 116. Last week, he recorded his league-leading 10th game of the season with 3 or more passing touchdowns, and can become the 4th player in NFL history with that mark in 8 straight games if he throws 3 touchdowns again on Saturday. And against man, well, Joe's been one of the best. Shiesty leads the league in passing yards and touchdowns against man coverage. That includes all 3 of his touchdowns against Pittsburgh back in Week 13. Now, Pittsburgh enters Week 18 on a 3-game losing streak. And during this skid, the Steelers are giving up an average of 30 points per game and haven't scored more than 17 in those outings. Over this stretch, Russell Wilson has just 3 passing touchdowns and has thrown a pick in back-to-back games, as he hasn't thrown for over 220 yards since Week 13. And there are a handful of milestones to keep an eye out for on Saturday. If Burrow throws for at least 359 yards, he could become the first player in NFL history with 5,000 passing yards and fewer than 10 interceptions in a season. Chase needs 2 receiving touchdowns to set a new team record and is 1 game shy of tying A.J. Green for the most 100-yard receiving games in a single season. And if the offense scores 4 touchdowns, they will break the total touchdown mark of 59 set in 1988. Contipelli's Countdown is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Discover what happens when rugged capability meets true performance. To learn more, visit kia.com. Kia, movement that inspires. Well, as we wait all day for Saturday night, let's recap what needs to happen for the Bengals to continue the season and slide into the 7th seed.